welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Matcha, where we dive into the bittersweet moments of the teenage experience. Just like matcha, both can often be messy and imperfect, but that's what makes them beautiful in the end. With that, thank you so much for tuning in, and today's episode I have a super special guest with me here today. She is a senior at my school and is an aspiring sports media journalist and reporter. And her goal in the future is to pave the way for future girls following her in the sports media industry. Let's welcome Charlie.
Hi, guys. So my name is Charlotte, but most people call me Charlie. And right now I'm working for Simply Basketball as a reporter, sideline reporter, and overall content creator. And I've done a couple other things within the sports media industry. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. The first question is, what first drew you to journalism and media?
So it's kind of a funny story, but I was sitting in bed one day and I was kind of at a point where I just did not know what direction I was going in. And I know I'm young and I think I was a sophomore at this time, but I just kind of felt like there's a pressure, it's kind of figure out what you're doing, what you want to do. And I've always loved being in front of the camera. I used to make YouTube videos when I was in middle school. And I've always loved basketball. So I kind of just combined both of those, and I messaged Simply Basketball on Instagram, and I was like, hey, do you guys need any interns? I'll do anything for you. And they ended up responding really quickly, and from there, the rest is history. Now I'm here, and it's been a year and a half with them, so...
That's crazy, and the fact that you literally just DM'd them on Instagram.
I know, everyone thinks it's crazy. It's how did you get this role? I'm I just reached out. And I feel that's something that so many kids now are afraid to do. It's sometimes you just need to reach out because so many people are willing to help and mentor people, especially young kids. So, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of connects to me, and I don't know if you guys watched one of my previous episodes with Shireen. She is the CEO and founder of Skillify, which is the company I interned for, and I actually got that job or internship because I was in this virtual event thing, and she gave everybody her phone number, and she was like, guys, just text me. But for some reason, people didn't text her, and I was I texted her, but I also was I have a podcast, I have this, and this, so I pretty much just advocated for myself. And like you said, people are so willing to help when you are willing to put yourself out there. So that's great. But how did you land your first role with the Daily Californian, and what did that moment feel like?
So my editor for the Panther Press for school, I worked for the school newspaper, she told me about the internship, and she gave it to everyone, all the staff members of Panther Press, but I was the only one who ended up kind of applying for it. So I went through a couple different interviews. I had to submit my resume, and then kind of had to answer questions about why I wanted to do it. And then I think 3 interviews later, I finally got the gig. It was a new process for me. It was my first official internship. So it felt really good though. I was really proud. My dad was really proud because my dad went to Cal. So he was so excited. He was I used to read that newspaper. But yeah, it was a very, very special moment for me for sure.
That's so amazing. So the Daily Californian is Cal's newspaper for sports or just in general?
So it's technically not affiliated with Cal, but it's student-led. So it's a student-led newspaper, and it's been around for ages. And it's not just sports, it's all of Berkeley, pretty much.
What's it balancing Simply Basketball with the Daily Californian?
Well, for Simply Basketball, we have events every couple months or sometimes multiple times a month, but it's not a consistent every week type of thing. And then the Daily Californian was just summer. So I was able to kind of gear my focus towards the Daily Californian because I don't think we did too many events at that time for Simply. So it kind of worked out for me, the timing and everything.
Yeah, and then what's it like navigating professional spaces as someone younger than most people in the room?
Yeah, honestly, so from a young age, my parents have always kind of instilled a type of confidence in me. They're you are a grown-up. I'm not a grown-up, but they've always treated me like I am an adult, so I've always kind of had that mindset. It's you're no bigger than me, you're no better than me, even though you're older. Not in a disrespectful way. I'm obviously respectful of my elders, guys, but, so I kind of never even realized that until I started working for the Daily Californian, because I was writing a piece on the Valkyries and I ended up getting invited to their game to go and like do some work for them. And I was there by myself. I was the youngest person there. I went to the media kind of room, and it was just all professionals and photographers. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, hey, like, am I supposed to be here? And next to me was one of the analysts for, I believe, CBS Sports. And we ended up in conversation. And she's like, do you have a mentor here? Like, who's here with you? I was like, oh no, I'm here by myself. She's like, what? You're here by yourself? And that's like really when I was like, okay, like, wow, I'm doing this by myself. And honestly, like I said before, I feel like I haven't noticed it because so many adults have taken me under their wing and wanted to like help me through it. So it hasn't been too much of a big deal, but it's definitely there. Like, there's not a lot of other kids in the space. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so scary. Like, I can't imagine, like, the amount of confidence. Like, you have to be talking in front of these high-level people who are way more experienced than you. But I guess another part of that is also these people can mentor you. So, did you ever, like, meet a mentor through one of those events?
So through Simply, my first event ever, I did interviews with two older girls, and I still keep in touch with both of them today. One of them now, she's working with the women's semi-professional league in the Bay Area, and she's doing great. And I love her, and she was very much a part of my journey in the beginning, and she definitely like inspired me to like be where I am here today. So yeah.
Wait, so did you start interviewing when you were a sophomore or
Yeah,
junior?
I was a
Wow.
sophomore. I know.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. And then, but now you're a senior and you're juggling college apps, sports, and journalism. How do you balance all that without burning out?
Honestly, if I'm gonna keep it real, I don't know how I'm doing it. College applications came so fast, and that process has been definitely a lot. I don't know, no one ever really prepared me. Like, I don't have like love my parents to death, but like they didn't really know much about it. So it's like no one really prepared me for this process. So I kind of like I've been going through it alone up until recently. But I think just like finding things to do, obviously not to like take up most of my time, but finding things that kind of like ground me. Like, I love to take like little travel trips, just kind of get away. And like, I'm not going to do any homework. I'm not going to do anything, or like just go on a drive or read a book, like do things that don't have to do with things that like cause me so much stress. But another thing is I love what I do with journalism. So that helps. It's like, I don't see it as like, oh, work, like I have to go edit this video. Like, I love doing it. So that helps too, for sure. Yeah.
I actually relate to that so much, and I feel like I started the podcast when I was a freshman, and I had like volleyball, I had club volleyball, varsity volleyball, and just like a lot of other extracurriculars, and it has been so hard, especially with sophomore year. Sophomore year is, ooh, that's another story, but it's just been so hard not to burn out. But then I realized, like, when I spend my time doing the things that I love, like editing my podcast, just and like producing overall, it just takes away like my worries and my
Yeah.
stress. And although like some people are like, how do you do it? Like having a whole podcast, like that seems so hard. But to me, it's like I love it, so I'm not stressing about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But what's your favorite part of covering sports? Is it the energy, the people, the pressure?
So something that's really important to me about sports in general is the way that it fosters inclusivity, because so many people, it doesn't matter what race you are, where you came from, what your mom and dad looks like, where you live, but everyone's kind of coming together for one common goal and rooting for one team. And I feel like we're in a world right now where everything is so divided. And I just love that sports is able to bring people together. So that's what kind of like draws me to sports overall. But in terms of sports media, I just love the thrill of it. Like, and I love talking to people. Like, something that is so important to me is like understanding people's stories. And like, I'm sure you know the same thing. 'Cause, you do a podcast, and it's like you find out about something new literally like every person you talk to, and I just feel like that's so interesting, and it's like definitely changed my perspective and like my worldview. So you're only a sophomore now, and I know I kind of talked about being alone kind of through the college process. What have you kind of seen or heard about that? I know you're a sophomore, but, people talk about these things. So what have you?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, or like Charlie said, I'm only a sophomore, and I feel like kids in my class have been talking about college and things like that since last year. Maybe even like middle school. And it's crazy. It's like, and all like the older kids they hear us talking about it, and they're like, you shouldn't even be like worrying about this right now. And I think it does add this like added level of stress to us because we're putting this pressure on ourselves that like we have to get into good college. We have to like do a bunch of like extracurriculars in order to like get into a good college, like, or like a college that like satisfies the expectations of, I don't know, yourself, your parents. But I think that's why I wanted to start the podcast, just to kind of like alleviate a lot of that stress, because it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be like you're going through this process alone. Like, yes, there are a lot of hardships that come along the way, but you do not have to go through that alone. And I think just overall, like, my classmates, I'm really proud of everybody because they're so like future oriented. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of us need to learn how to not care about the future too much and to pretty much just like live in the moment, because it's really hard to just save your high school years when all you're doing about is thinking about college
Yeah.
and like your future. So it does get scary a lot. I'm sure you relate to that right now as a senior.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, when I was a sophomore and freshman, I didn't even know what extracurriculars were. Like, I knew what they were, but I didn't know about them on the basis that, like, they're going to help you get into a good college. And I feel like that's something that, like, people don't realize. Everyone's like, oh my God, you have, like, the best extracurriculars. I'm like, no, like, I do these things because I love them. Like, like, doing sports media and stuff, and my internships through that, or, like, whatever, volunteer work through that, like, I never thought about it in terms of college until, like, right now, like, this summer, kind of. But before that, like, I was really just doing them because I love them, and I feel like that's something that I would tell so many people who are thinking about extracurriculars. Don't just do it because you think it's going to get you into an Ivy. Like, no, do it because it's something that you love and it's something that you're passionate about, because colleges, they look at that too. Like, if say you want to go into journalism like me, but then you're doing extracurriculars for a hospital, they're like, okay, why are you doing that? Like, it doesn't like coincide with what you want to do at all. So yeah, that's definitely something that I would say and some advice I would give.
That is such great advice, because also like I hear my classmates or like just people in general like, oh, I have to do that club for my college apps, or like, oh, I need to take this many amount of APs to get into college, like things like that. And I'm just like, guys, like, you don't have to add this like much pressure on yourself,
Especially at your age.
Yeah, exactly. But on that note, you've met a lot of really cool people through your work. Is there a moment or interview that stands out to you?
So I would say meeting. Okay, honestly, my whole Valkyrie's experience, like, that was such a surreal moment for me because it kind of came out of nothing. So I emailed their PR rep for the Valkyries, and I was like, hey, I just need some quotes for an article. And we kind of ended up in conversation. She was like, hey, do you want to come to a practice? And I was like, of course I want to go to practice. Like, yes, of course. So I go to the practice, and I'm like, I get in a suit. I'm like, all ready. And then I meet some other journalists, and they're like so casual. They're in like jeans and stuff, and I'm just in a whole suit and heels. And I was like, oh, I feel so out of place here. But everyone was so cool. And the player that I'm supposed to interview, she ended up getting treatment. So I couldn't interview her. So I'm like, oh, I just came here. It was a good experience nonetheless, but I came there and I couldn't interview her, and I was like, oh, dang. But then the same PR lady who I was in contact with, she was like, so I'm so sorry, she's in treatment, but do you want to just come to the game tomorrow instead and interview her there? I was like what? And so of course I went, and I got like the official media pass and everything, and that was like, I literally wanted to cry, like, because that's just like my dream moment, is like being able to work in that type of space, like a professional basketball space as a media member while I'm still in high school. That was definitely like the most surreal moment. And then all the people I met through that, I met the founder and CEO of a Black sports network, which was really interesting. And then the analysts that I met. So yeah, I met some cool people through that. But that experience was definitely like top tier for me.
Oh, that is so amazing. So was the Valkyries a part of the Daily Californian? Like, how did that role come about?
I was writing a piece on them for the Daily Californian. Okay. Like, that was my project for them. So then that's kind of, yeah.
And then you reached out and you were able to get that moment for yourself.
That's not like wasn't my intention. I was like, hey, can I just get some quotes? Like, that's what I needed. But yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason. So yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Like, you're able to, like, again, advocate for yourself. And that's so inspiring, especially because there are a lot of kids who are a bit more, like, in their shell and they're kind of more on, like, the introverted side. So do you have any advice for them in terms of, like, advocating for yourself? Because really cool opportunities do come out when you advocate for yourself.
Yeah, I would say honestly, don't be afraid of rejection. That was something that I dealt with for a long time. Honestly, I think people aren't looking at things the same way you are. Like, people aren't gonna say you will reach out to some adult. They're not gonna look at that and be like, oh, like, who is this kid? Like, if anything, if they don't answer, it's because they didn't see it. And it's like, you're never gonna get an opportunity that you didn't ask for or didn't try for, because it's better to try and nothing happened than not try at all, which, everyone says that, but it's so true, because honestly, everything that I've done was because of me reaching out or me trying and just not being afraid of rejection. Like, okay. And I've got rejected plenty of times. Like, yes, some things went my way, but a lot of things haven't gone my way too. But I feel like that's just part of the process. And, everything's a learning process. Like, I know I'm still young and I still have a lot to learn. But yeah, it's the biggest thing. Like, do not be afraid of rejection. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you have, can I ask, like, have there ever been any big challenges as you're working in this media industry?
I volunteered for this company, and I ended up talking to the, what was his role? He was like marketing. He was like marketing, like the marketing associate, something. And then he like offered me an internship, like on the spot kind of, and I went through a couple interviews and I like told everyone, like, hey, I'm doing this internship, like da-da-da. And it didn't end up working out in the end, which is totally okay. Like, I get it. Like, people are busy, and I feel like I was pretty sad at first because I kind of had in my mind that I had, like, gotten the internship because that's kind of what I was told. But, like, I realized if anything, like, it's because of, like, something they had going on. Like, it has nothing to do with me. So it's like, I didn't want to feel bad about myself for not getting it, because that's kind of where some of the sadness is coming from. It's like, oh, like, did I say something wrong in an interview? Like, or when I met with them. But I think just kind of realizing that, like, everything happens for a reason, first of all. But second of all, you are going to be where you're supposed to be. And it's not your fault if you do face a challenge or face adversity. A lot of the times it is someone else, and that's okay. But that's what I would say. That was probably like my most recent challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also tried to apply for this one internship last year. So I was a freshman, and I am a part of this, and I've talked about this in some other episodes, but I tried to apply for this one internship, and everybody in the club that I'm like a part of is this like economic club, because I'm interested a lot in like business and economics. So I'm a part of this like external club from school, and everybody there is like juniors and seniors. And I applied for this internship and I got rejected, and I was like, is it because I'm too young? And I didn't want to show that I was sad, but it took a toll on me a little bit, just a little bit, because again, it was just like, what did I do wrong? Like, did I say something wrong in my interview? Like, did I just do something wrong in my resume? Things like that. But then literally 2 weeks later, that's when I got my internship that I currently have right now, because I advocated for myself and because I wasn't scared to try anything new after getting rejected. Like, even like when you do get rejected, you still have to be able to like persevere and say like, that didn't happen. It's okay. Like, just move on and learn from like your mistakes. And even though I didn't make any mistakes, I don't think, you still have to, just be conscious of that and still be able to like push through. So, how would you describe your style as a journalist, and how did you find it? Has it changed as you gain more experience with all of your internships?
So, honestly, I don't think I like have fully found my style yet, because I am like, yeah, I've been in it for like a year or two, but it's still new to me. Like, that's nothing compared to like professional journalists. So I think honestly, my biggest thing is just like being a voice for people who don't necessarily like know how to kind of like communicate what they want to say. And then also just making my work, like especially my writing, like I want to make it accessible for everyone. So like when I wrote my article, I had people tell me like, oh, I didn't know what the Valkyries were. I didn't know like what WNBA was, but now after reading your article, like I understand a little bit more. I want to create kind of a sense of like accessibility for people. So that's like what I'm working towards right now. But we'll see. We'll see in the future, guys, what my style is.
Yeah. So what's your like process with writing articles? Like, do you have to go to a game first? Like, and also, how do you choose what to write about?
So for the Daily Californian, most people that I was interning with, I would think I was the only high schooler. There might have been a couple more.
Oh wow.
But most people that I was interning with, they would like get assignments from the editor, or they'd pitch an assignment, but it was just like very quick hitting articles that kind of went out every week. And I was like feeling so behind. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't written an article yet. And I've been doing this internship. I think I was like 3 weeks in. I hadn't written anything. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I kind of pitched the idea of the Valkyries to my editor. He was like, I love this. Like, and I was like, yay, I'm excited. But the process of it literally took me a month and a half to write, which is something I didn't realize in like print journalism, is like how long that process is, like the editing, the quotes that go into it, the fact checking, the background, everything that goes into it. But I don't know, like the process for me is, I feel like writing about something that I am passionate about, or else I won't get it done,
That's true. That's really true.
So, yeah, that's kind of why I picked the Valkyries, who just new team in the Bay Area. My mom loves them, like my family follows them, and I knew that it was kind of a big task to take on because it is a professional team, and I feel like most of the articles are written about like college teams.
Also, how does that compare like to doing the school newspaper to doing a professional team? Like, that must be so crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely a big leap because I only had ever done the school newspaper, which is like, I'm basically just kind of doing everything myself, and then the editors kind of edit it. There's not really anyone in between. Once I got the internship, they gave us a slideshow of some rules and kind of just dropped us in the deep end and was like, here. And I was like, I've never done this before. So I had to like contact my editor a lot and like ask a lot of questions, but I feel like that's okay. Like, ask questions. People want to help you. It ended up, good in the long run, but for sure I was scared at first. I was like, oh, I'm just being dropped right off the ship into the water, into the dark abyss. I don't know what's going on.
It's valid.
But yeah, just asking questions definitely helped me for sure.
Yeah, and also, how did you even find the time to write all these articles? Like, you're in school, you have basketball. Like, how do you even find the time for that?
Well, my Daily Cal was during the summer, so that definitely
right.
helped. So I had the time, but for school, junior year, like you said, sophomore year was bad. No. Sophomore year was my easiest year in my opinion. Like, junior year is a whole another ball game, and writing the articles for school during junior year, I think I only wrote like 3 or 4 articles, so I didn't write that many, but I don't even know how I did it. I think just kind of like using time that I would use for other things. Like, I'd be writing at lunch or like interviewing people at lunch for articles instead of like eating lunch. Like, it's just kind of, it's sacrifice. It's all about sacrifice, but it's worth it. It's for sure worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I also do a lot of like my podcast stuff during lunch, or like just like finding any time, because I have sports practices after school. And I also need to sleep. That's like, this year I'm trying to tell myself like, it's okay to sleep. Like, I don't have to get like 5 hours
sleep is
a night.
important, guys.
I know. Like, I don't know. Last year I was not good about prioritizing my sleep, and that kind of, I saw the consequences this year, and I was just felt very burnt out. Because for me, like, sophomore year is hard because I'm taking a lot of like APs and honors, and then I also have like extracurriculars. So it has been hard. Like, it's been so hard, and I can't stress like how much of a jump it is from freshman to sophomore year, just for me specifically. But I know like a lot of people do like go through that. But yeah, it's been such a process, and I've been not struggling, but it's been hard to like find a time to still do the things I love outside of school and not get overwhelmed in school. So did you ever like feel that way a lot?
Yeah, junior year, I definitely was like, I had way too much on my plate at once, and I felt like I was kind of prioritizing my like outside of school stuff kind of over my school stuff. So I I don't know, I've always been a big stickler about grades, like on myself. Like my parents, they're kind of supportive no matter what, but I'm like, no, I need perfect grades. Like,
Exactly,
you know
me
what I
too.
mean? Yeah. I'm like, I know you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh,
But so junior year, like not seeing perfect grades on my report card like took a toll on me mentally, and I know that sounds crazy, I don't know, that sounds kind of like conceited, but no, I think that like what I realized through that though is there's so much more to like a letter on a report card, and I realized that I needed to stop minimizing myself to a letter on a report card, because I feel like that's what I did. Like, why me looking at a grade that's not perfect is like, why is that taking a toll on my mental health? Like, that's not healthy. Like, that's genuinely not healthy. And it definitely took me uh I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way for sure. But now this year, senior year, being able to learn that, I have a lot less on my plate in terms of schoolwork. It's definitely still hard, but I mean, I prioritize my mental health and prioritize my outside of school stuff over like taking that extra AP or taking that extra honors class, because at the end of the day, that's not going to help me in my career. You know what I mean? Like taking honors Spanish, like that's not gonna help me in my career. It is a great thing if that's like what you love. I've never been the type to like make school my personality. You know what I mean?
I get that. Oh, I so get that. And so you like not having perfect grades on your transcript is literally me this year. Like we haven't even actually we got our midterms and like the progress 6 week mark grades back, and I did fine. But it's just like one test doesn't affect like your overall
Yeah.
grade, and it's so hard because I'm so used to like not making mistakes and like okay that sounds bad. I'm not used to like making such simple mistakes, and I kind of have to just like give myself grace because I know that I'm like doing a lot, but it's still so hard to tell myself that.
It
Like literally,
is. It
like
is.
2 weeks ago, I literally cried every single day. It was so bad. And like, guys, like, don't let your grades define you because you don't want it to take a toll on your mental health, and then you also don't want it to affect the things that you love outside of school. Because that's how it kind of was for me. Like, I feel like when I go to practice, I just feel so burnt out from the day, and I just feel like I couldn't put my all of my energy into practice because I was just thinking about school, or I was thinking about that grade that I got on my test.
Yeah.
And I know like in my previous episodes I've like talked about how I'm trying to not let those things bleed into each other, especially when I dwell on my past mistakes. Not even mistakes, it's just like things that I think are like bad, and I think everybody just has these expectations that they impose on themselves for no reason. But
Yeah. I feel like a lot of it is like comparison too. Like I've struggled with that a lot. It's like comparing myself to the grades that people are getting in my class, or like even to like how people look. Like comparison's been a big thing for me. And what I kind of realized is like you're never ever gonna live up to the expectations of someone else. Like ever. Cause that's someone else at the end of the day. Like everyone's made different, and everyone has different goals and different aspirations, and everyone has different talents. Like no two people are the same. So what I've been learning, like just honestly recently, like kind of starting senior year, was like looking within, and it's like living up to like my standards for myself and not looking at someone else like what are they doing, and like I need to meet their standards, because at the end of the day that's their standards. So it's like what can I do to be the best that I can be, and kind of like reflecting on kind of more of the internal rather than what other people expect me to be.
no, literally, I know you have her as your English teacher too, but my English teacher, she told me, because I always talk to her about like just these, like I have came into her room bawling my eyes out multiple times this year, and she was telling me like, Sophia, you're not competing with other people, you're competing with yourself, and it does sound scary because it's like, oh, I'm competing with myself and I'm competing with these like high expectations that I have. But I guess sometimes you have to learn to lower their standards a little bit and set realistic goals for yourself, because when I don't achieve the goals I set for myself, I am like absolutely demoralized. And it just like takes such a toll on me, but I don't see, the thing is like I don't want it to take a toll on me anymore. Like I don't want to have my grades define me. I don't want to have how I played in that one game define me. I
Yeah,
just
that's something I do
yeah,
too. Yeah.
exactly. Like it's just like there are just so many of these like external factors that I let define myself, or like I just like compare myself to other people, and like especially as an athlete, I know you get this too. Like thinking about how that other girl plays like in that game, like just things like that. But have you ever like compared yourself to other journalists before?
Um, I don't think so. I definitely look up to a lot of journalists. Like my friends have to be sick of me how many times I'm like mentioning other journalists, but honestly, it's more in a way that like I strive to like kind of get where they are or exceed where they are. And I love looking at other women in the field, especially women of color. I think that's just more something that I look up to. Yeah, yeah.
How has journalism changed the way you see the world or even your own school community?
Um I think in our world, we're so quick to judge. We're so quick to just make assumptions. And I feel like I think it's kind of changing the narrative of the way we perceive things because it's giving you the background on things. And when we make judgments or we make assumptions, it's because of a lack of knowledge on the topic or of the subject you're talking about. So I love that journalism alleviates that in the sense that it enlightens a lot of people to things that they wouldn't otherwise know, you know what I mean? And I feel like I have like kind of talked about this a little bit, but like when I interview people, I learn so much about the world, and it's honestly just made me more appreciative of just people's stories, and also in general like less quick to judge. I'm like, I don't know what their story is. I don't know what their background is, you know?
That reminds me, like, do you ever get that feeling? And connecting this back to school and just like overall, like the academic pressure or even sports pressure, do you ever like feel proud of yourself to the point where you're like, I can just like do anything? Like, why am I letting that one grade like get to me if I can like do all of this? Like, is that just me or is that?
No, yeah, I totally get that. Whenever something big happens, like that's definitely how I feel. I'm like, the world is so much bigger than my grades. Like, what I'm doing now means so much more to me than getting an A on a test. It's like, it's a different feeling for sure. Like doing something that you're passionate about is a different feeling than getting good grades. Even though they both like give you a sense of accomplishment, but it's just not the same in my opinion. Like I don't get the same sense of accomplishment.
And I think for me, like, I'm trying to think like that. And honestly, I do better in school and just like overall mentally when I understand and recognize that I am like we were talking about earlier, more than just my grades, that I have a podcast, that I'm a varsity athlete, things
Yeah.
like that. Like, not to sound cocky in any way, like,
No.
not at all. But it's just like understanding that you are what you love. And sometimes that does help you thrive more, like mentally. Because when I know that I'm doing all these things, I'm like, okay, like I can do the next thing. Like, I don't have to be mad that I got a B on my test or that I have like an A minus in this class. But again, like sometimes that is easier said than done, you know? And it's been such a process for myself, and to just kind of learn to like be happy in my own skin, and that at the end of the day nobody else is ever going to be me but me. So that's just been something that I've been trying to tell myself this year.
Honestly, you said being cocky, but like being proud of your accomplishments is not cocky. And that's something I deal with too, because right now writing college applications, like it's basically just you sitting there and bragging about yourself and your accomplishments. And I'm working with a college advisor right now, and I had wrote one of my supplementals. She was editing it. She was like, what did you do? Like, I don't know what you did through this. And she's like rewording it kind of, or like giving me some like tips on like what words to use. And she was like, you need to be able to brag about yourself, but not in like, obviously not in a cocky way, but it's also not cocky to talk about the things that you've done, because at the end of the day, it's like, that's what you work for. Like, you want to be appreciated for the things that you've done. And if anyone thinks that you're cocky, then I feel like most of the time it comes from a place of like insecurity on their part. And yeah, like honestly, it's okay to be proud. Like, you know, it's okay to say what you've done, because at the end of the day, you're not lying. Like, you did do those things and you did work hard to get there. So that's something I'm like learning right now too through the college process. Like, it's okay to talk about myself and like talk about things I've done. Like, even doing this is like a lot for me, because I just don't love like sounding cocky or
I
like,
know,
you know
me
what
too.
yeah. So, but it's okay. Like, that's something I'm gradually learning. Like, it's okay to, you know, talk about yourself in a good way, you know?
Yeah, and especially because you're like enlightening others with your experience, and like definitely like throughout the podcast I've had so many different guests, unique guests who all have their own stories, and at the end of the day we're just using our voices to kind of help like inform other people and to kind of like give them hope when things do get hard. So yeah. And then also, and now that you're saying this, it makes sense, a lot of my counselors tell me, they're like, if you aren't having enough time to do something that you love, then you need to change something. Like, if, let's say, like, you can't have time to like draw, or you can't have time to, like, for example, for me to do the podcast, you're doing something wrong. Because if you don't have time to do what you love and find out what you're interested in, then like, what are you even doing? You know? I don't know. But what's the story you're proudest of covering so far, and why?
I mean, like I said before, I feel like definitely the Valkyries, like, that's what I was most proud of, and I think I was most proud of it because of the realization that I had that, like, yeah, I'm kind of, like, doing this by myself, and I felt really proud. Like, I know mini-me would be proud of me, going into a space full of professionals and, being able to, like, work alongside them. I think that's why I was most proud of it.
Yeah, how do you see that panning out in the future for yourself? Like, do you see yourself in this industry and like being a reporter, journalist? What do you see?
So my goal, I did like doing print. It was cool, but I feel like that's definitely not my strongest suit. I definitely just like talking to people more and being on camera. I would love in college, hopefully, to do some like sideline reporting, maybe with the network that my college is for. Like, that's obvious, like, that's the ultimate goal by the time I graduate.
Yeah, and it's so great that you, like, because you did an internship with the Daily, you knew that you don't, maybe you don't like print as much, or
Yeah.
you also are doing simply basketball, so you know that that is your strongest shoot, like talking to other people, like that's what you like doing more. And that's why I think it's so important to just like take chances and
Yeah.
take risks, because you're never going to know how to thrive in certain places, or how, what you're weak at, if you don't try. So also, like, if you're just grades, or if you just think about school and you let school define you, how are you ever going to know like what you love? That's why I brought up the point about not making time to do what you love, and instead being so consumed, because like I said, you're not going to, and I don't know how to make, I don't want to like sound mean, but you're not gonna know like what you're interested in. Like, yeah, you could say like, oh, I want to be a doctor, but like, what are you gonna do to be a doctor?
Expose yourself to that, you will have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the part comes in. Like, you have to balance. Like, I have to take this many hard classes, but then I also like have to have time outside of school to like do what I love, you know. And then, what advice would you give to other teens who want to break into media or journalism?
I would say definitely just reach out. Reach out, reach out. Something that I've learned from kind of being introduced into this industry is that it's all about connection. Like, it is all about connections. It's all about networking. Introduce yourself to people. I feel like half the positions I've done, or like the people I've met, were because I introduced myself to someone and then maybe they introduced me to someone else, or, you know?
Exactly.
So I feel like networking is such an underrated skill, and I obviously am still new to it. Like, I'm still young, but that's something I've learned for sure. Building connection through people, and like genuine connection too. I'm not saying use people for, you know, who they are. Like, just getting to know people, because a lot of times that's appreciated, because a lot of people do kind of form fake connections just to like get themselves somewhere, you know? So yeah, forming like real genuine connections, and then like you said, advocating for yourself.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that a lot, because I did this camp, and also I want to go into like, I think I want to go into like business or like things like that. And I know that in that realm, or in that world, networking is so important. So I did this camp this past summer at Wharton at University of Pennsylvania, and they talked about the importance of networking, and how like, this was an interesting point. They said your network in high school is bigger than your network that you're going to have in college.
Oh.
Which is right, and you wouldn't think that, right? But it's because like when you're in high school, it's not as niche. Like, so many people are still like figuring out what they're doing in their life, versus in college it's more niche, you know, like it's more targeted towards what you want to do specifically. So I guess like, as you, I know this sounds off talk, but as you get older, your network like shrinks, and it becomes more like defined towards like who you are. And I just think that's so interesting, and not a lot of high schoolers even know like what networking is.
I did. Gosh, I was like, I remember my first, during All-Star Weekend last year, I went to it was just like a women in sports like networking event, and they gave us a schedule, and one of like the time slots was like, okay, networking, and I'm like, like network, like internet, like Like, what? But I mean, obviously I caught on, like I knew what it was, or I gained the knowledge to figure out what it was. But yeah, it is such an important skill. I feel like for any field, like I know for me, because that's just what I'm used to. But yeah, for sure, definitely business too, like any field for sure.
Yeah, and also like another big thing is also being yourself and like not trying to be someone you're not, especially when you're trying to network and like make all these connections. Because if you're not being who you are and like and you're trying to like live up to the expectations of other people, a lot of people catch on to that, and it's like, why do I want to build a relationship with you if I'm not even like seeing the real you? So do you think that's like applied to you as you've kind of gone through this journey?
Yeah, I feel like authenticity in journalism is one of the most talked about things because there's so many, like your audience is very wide, like you have a wide range of people, and but at the same time there's a lot of different journalists. There's so many different journalists for so many different aspects. It's very multifaceted industry, so if you are like everyone else, then first of all, no one's going to care what you have to say because everyone else is saying the same thing. And then second of all, it's like you want to attract certain people to listen to you, not like a prejudice way, like I only want these people to listen to me, but like certain people want to listen to certain things, and everyone has different opinions and like different like views of the world, and they all want to like look at things a certain way. So if you're not being like authentic to yourself, then like your audience is also not going to be the authentic audience that you are trying to convey your message to.
Oh, that's such a good point. I never thought about it in that way. And you're like telling me so much about journalism right now. It's like so like inspiring, but that's honestly so cool. And how do you hope to change the narrative around women in sports media and open doors for girls after you?
So I recently looked up a statistic and of the number of women of color in like the sports media industry, or black women specifically in the sports media industry, and I think it was like 0.09% or something, which was definitely enlightening to me. It was not a statistic that I thought at all. It's just not what I expected. It was not the result I expected, because I feel like a lot of times these women are put on the forefront of these networks. I love that it is becoming more of a diverse space. Like I love that, and I'm very grateful for that, because I just love seeing women, women of color on TV. I think that like when I was younger and I would look and I would watch games with my parents, and then the post-game show would come on, like that's not what I saw at all. So I just want to kind of continue to kind of like push the boundaries of like what people believe sports media should be. And I feel like a lot of people in their mind believe that it is a man's field. I mean, rightfully so, because that has been the case for the past, God knows how many years. But yeah, I think just continuing, there are a lot of women who are front runners for this journey to diversifying the space, and I just kind of want to add into that and continue to advocate for women and use hopefully my future platform to inspire girls under me, because although there are a lot of women in the space now and women of color in space, I like personally I haven't seen much of them like helping out like the younger generations, and that's okay because they have so much to worry about, because they're like the first people to kind of be introduced into the space. So I would love that, because I would love to just help like a little me like kind of break into the field the way so many of my mentors have helped me, and I'm so grateful to them. But yeah, I would like to be that for someone else.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much for your perspective about journalism and sports media. Do you have any final points that you want to say?
I just want to say to anyone who is looking to break into the industry, you are never too young. My door is always open. Please contact me. I would love to help anyone, and just kind of reiterating the same points of like, do not be afraid of rejection, because at the end of the day, you can't do something, or you can't land a role if you haven't tried to land that role. So I think just remembering that, and also just being grateful. I feel like something that's also very overlooked is just like gratitude in general. Like, just be grateful for every opportunity that you have and everyone that you meet, and never take anything for granted, because I don't know, life's short. Like, life's short, and that's why, try, advocate for yourself, and don't take anything for granted. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Let's Talk Matcha, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.